Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Women in Blazers. Good evening. I hope you guys are excited on this Women's Wednesday. It's Women History Month, and so we'll be celebrating all month long, all about women, just everything surrounding women. I'm pretty sure you're going to see so much of that. And so the National Women's Empowerment Ministry is excited because we have two wonderful women right here with us tonight. And I would like for you to welcome Miss Belinda Gaston to the platform, as well as Dr. Ashley Little. And I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves before we dive into the conversation. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Belinda, and tell them a little bit about you.
Great. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Belinda Gaston. I'm an associate director for the public health and epidemiology practice at Westats, a company here, headquartered in Rockville, Maryland, but we're in Atlanta. I'm also co-founder of an organization, Comms Noir, which is really dedicated to creating a community for Black social impact communicators. And I am really excited to be here. So thank you so much for allowing me to share your platform and have this discussion with Dr. Ashley.
Awesome, awesome. Well, good evening. My name is Dr. Ashley Little. I am a senior executive by day, and I'm a serial entrepreneur by night. So I'm not going to go into all the things that I own, but I'm excited to be here tonight to talk to the amazing Alicia Cash and to be on the platform with Belinda. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to having this amazing conversation.
Well, tonight we're pulling up and we're talking about so much surrounding women, but we wanted to kick off tonight's discussion pretty much talking about no credit where credit is due, the power of recognition. And so I have so much to talk about in regards to the power of recognition because at the soul of who I am, it's a part of my DNA. So I can't wait to hear what these powerhouse women have to say about this discussion. And we want you to be a part of that discussion. We want you to be a part of that discussion tonight. So we only ask that you do one thing. Well, two things, right? We want you to like and we want you to share. That is part of the algorithm when we do these things on social media. The more views that people see the conversation, that it allows them to have a great discussion and a great, robust discussion. And so we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you think about our topic on tonight on recognition. Women many times don't receive the credit that they believe that they deserve. And so tonight we want to talk about it. So go ahead. If you hear something you like, please like the video and go ahead and share it. So let's just go ahead and lean into the conversation. Are you ready, ladies?
Yes, let's do
Yes,
it.
ready.
As I stated before, tonight's topic is no credit where credit is due, the power of recognition. And so, one of the things I want to first talk about is that we've all heard the myth that women don't support each other. Um, it's no mystery to it. It doesn't matter what circle that you're running in, or whether it's at work or it's a social organization or in the community or in school or what have you. It's a myth that women don't support each other, that we don't really get along. We don't know how to support one another. So tell me, when you hear that in 2022, how do you feel about that statement? Is it really true that women don't support each other?
Well, I'll jump in. It's definitely not true. It's all about finding your tribe, right? We do support each other. We do collaborate. We do work together, right? It's just making sure that you are in those like-minded circle of women that want to see each other grow, right? And so I definitely do not believe that we do support each other. We do collaborate with each other. It's so much, power in networking and collaborating. And when we do it together, it's so much more that we can do. So I do not believe that, because I have some amazing women that I collaborate with, network with on a daily basis, right? And so I definitely say that that is not true.
And I agree with Dr. Ashley. I think it is a myth. That's what you said. It's definitely a myth. And the thing is, I think as women we understand that we're collaborating. We understand the power of networking. We understand the power of supporting each other. I think where we're challenged is when we go into environments that kind of um, try to put us against one another. It's up to us to make sure that we are setting the environment. As women, we have the power to shift the atmosphere, we have the power to change the environment. And so I think what I am happy about seeing, at least within my circle, are people are really starting to challenge the environment and saying, hey, are you creating a space where women can collaborate? Are my leaders encouraging women to collaborate? Are we doing things that allow women to feel comfortable and safe and giving them the space to collaborate? So I would just add that to this conversation as well.
Well, I want to definitely say that we've gotten better. There have been times that I felt like that we could do a better job at supporting one another, and celebrating one another. And I believe that a lot of the Black Girl Magic um, is inspiring us to do that. To say, hey, oh, we really need to get behind this movement. And because I really think that it's something that has to be taught. Sometimes there have been stories to say that women, we have this crab mentality about making room for each other and making spaces for one another and being transparent and open because we have our own insecurities that we're having to work out within ourselves, even within women groups, whether it's a women's ministry or if it's a sorority or if it's a community organization, teaching women on an ongoing basis those soft skills, because I'm a firm believer that you got to refresh on those soft skills
Yeah.
to say, this is how we can show up and support this person. You don't have to like the person because that's what men do. They don't necessarily have to like them to support them, to say, okay, I believe that this person could be a great manager because they've done great work. They laid personality differences aside. And I'm just not sure that we as women have been able to do that all the time. If I mean, come on, let's just keep it real. They don't like the way you walk sometimes, and it's like, if they find a small reason just to kind of put you in a basket with Ashley's not her head. What do you got to say about that, Ashley?
Well, you know what? And I do agree with that because it is, some people do have insecurities, right? And they have to heal.
Yes.
What my thing is, I always say, go heal. When
Yes.
people are with their insecurities and they're jealous,
Yes.
it's not going to help you grow, right? And so, what I would say to those women that, yeah, because it's out there, right? Let's just be honest, it is out there. And
Yes.
so, for those women that are still dealing with that, right? I say go heal, right? Because you're gonna miss your blessing. You will miss something that could change the trajectory of your life because of your insecurities, right? And so, in order for us to really effectively collaborate and network, we have to want to see each other win. Even if my
Yes.
sister passes me, I'm
Come
still
on.
happy for her. So we
Yes.
have to have that mentality, and we have our hearts have to be right, and it has to be genuine because people know
Yes.
when you're not genuine, right? And so that's what I would tell everybody. If you're one of those people, hey, let's just be honest. If you're one of those people that are still dealing with that and still trying to overcome some insecurities or still need some healing, go heal. Go heal so you won't miss your blessing, because it's so much power in networking and collaborating. And if you're jealous or if you're hating or if you're not happy for other people, you're not going to get so far. Right. And people can pick up on that, especially when you have discernment.
Yeah. And because, I say this all the time. I've even gone live about it, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could be driving in the car, trying to get over, and there's a sister, and I'm thinking she gonna let me over, and she scoot up, and then I scoot up, and she scoot up, and I said I'm gonna get a car tag made that says women empowerment. When you see me, let me over. Sometimes women we can just be so critical, amongst ourselves, and so we do have to continue to put support movements, support women. I support her, I promote her, I encourage her. And you said something very powerful, Ashley, even if she surpasses me, because sometimes some people can get with you as long as you have
I'm doing
not.
better than them.
There you go. There you go. And so that's just real talk, that's real sister talk, that's real women talk.
Mhm.
We have to be able to get behind one another, even if that person surpasses that you. What about even when you put out certain content on social media and Facebook, and you have to say, they say, "Oh yeah, girl, I saw your post, but did you like it though? Did you like it? But did you like? You saw it, but did you like? See, I'm one of those. I'm one
Did
of
you like
those.
it?
So support shows up in different ways,
Mhm.
and I'm just being real. And those are just some of the small things that I kind of
Well, and I
And
think
that's a fact, right? Did you like it? Right? Did you like it? Did you support it? Support is in so many different ways, and people pick up on that, right? And so they always say you should look and see who's clapping for you, right? That's a
yes,
true thing. It's a true thing. So I just tell everybody like I'm so that's my motto for this year. It's just to go heal, because really when people are insecure, they're jealous, hating, it's something going on with them. And so I'm not gonna say I always was like go heal, right? Because you don't understand that sometimes. Like, why are you? I'm happy for you, right? But when you learn to show grace, you're like, it's something within that person. Like, I'm gonna pray for them. Like Tabitha did with Wendy Williams, right? She
oh
didn't go
yes,
off on her. She showed a grace. Her response was different, right? And so
it was.
sometimes you just have to walk in love.
Yes, yeah, she did that that part.
You
Yes.
know, I want to add something, just a different layer here, because I think sometimes we may think that our sister is like, I'm not being supportive or being jealous or being hostile, when really people are dealing with so much stuff that sometimes they're so into their stuff. And this goes to what you were saying, Dr. Ashley, about, the need to heal. I think a lot of times we our perception of what other people think it's so off. So we may misinterpret someone's behavior as not supporting us, or misinterpret someone's behavior as, oh, they're jealous, or they're hostile, when really they may be in a deep place. And it's really important, I think, as we're going throughout, kind of figuring out how we network with one another, figuring out how we support one another, that we keep that in mind, that people may be dealing with things that we just don't know about. And
Yes.
so sometimes it's just asking that question. I remember encountering a woman that I thought, y'all, she, like, every time I said something or did something at work, she was speaking counter to it. And I almost thought, like, is she intentionally shooting down every idea? So I just went up to her and had a conversation. I said, listen, it seems as if there's some kind of issue here. What's going on? And it turns out it had nothing to do with me. She was busy trying to handle some personal things. And some of the things that I said in these meetings reminded her of her personal situation. That was an ouch moment for her. Right. And so we were able to have that dialogue. And so I also want to encourage us, as we're having this conversation, to really be encouraged to have dialogues, address the issue head on. It seems as if there's an issue here. How can we rectify the situation?
Yes.
Everybody's not going to be warm and fuzzy about it. There may be some people who'll be mean, but we have to try.
That's good. That's really good. Oh, so if you all hearing anything that you like, you drop some fire in the chat and let us know that you're watching and you're engaged, and ask any questions, because tonight we're talking about the power of recognition, and we just talked about women's support a few minutes ago. And so my next question to the panel, or to at the table, is: many women at work still believe that highlighting achievements can be seen as bragging. And so tell me, do you all feel that way? Because when there was an article that I was reading, that men, they don't feel that way. When they put their accomplishments out there, it's just that. This is what I accomplished. This is what I've done. They don't look at it as like bragging. But women have a hard time doing that, have a hard time sharing their accomplishments, bragging on themselves, or putting it out there, even in the time of social media. So tell me, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it starts as little girls. A lot of times our mothers and their mothers have had this generational silence. You're meek, you're mild, you don't share what you're doing because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I think that it's one of those things that's culturally been implanted in society for quite some time. I think some would even argue that it's gone back beyond kind of those generations. But I think it's that training that you get as a little girl. And if you had a mother or a woman in your life that actually encouraged you to speak up and speak out, it was seen as you being aggressive, right? And so I think that carries over into how we describe our accomplishments. Some of us are so critical of ourselves that we find it hard to even verbalize our own accomplishments, let alone share it with other people. And so I think that this idea of bragging is really people not being comfortable in first understanding what their accomplishments are and what their value is, and then being able to articulate it for a variety of reasons. But a lot of times it's generational.
And I'm gonna
That's
put a
really
twist.
good.
And I'm gonna put a twist on that because I'm all about celebrate everything. Celebrate your small wins, your big wins. They're gonna talk about
Yes.
you, what you're doing good and what you're doing bad. Celebrate it, right? We have
Yes.
to we have to get out of the mindset of caring what people think, right? And I
Hmm.
think a lot of people that dream killers kill them. They what mama said or what auntie said. Follow your journey. Your journey is your journey, right? Whether they, like I said, you post whether you get one like or whether you get 1,000 likes, right? Celebrate you. We have to change that narrative, right? If it was something you grew up that way, kill that generational curse. The generational curse stops here, right? So celebrate. Like we don't work hard for nothing. We should be talking. We should be bold. We should celebrate small and big wins. My thing for anybody that's listening, if that's something that you're going through or you don't feel like you should be celebrating you, start today. Go ahead and post it and forget about what everybody else thinks. Celebrate the small and the big wins. Celebrate
Mhm.
everything because you deserve it. You deserve
Mhm.
it. So let's change the narrative. That's the solution I would have for it. Let's change the narrative on that and let's celebrate each other.
Well, thank you so much, Ashley, and you're so correct, Belinda. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we did come up in a space where women and girls have been taught they should be seen and not heard, and so I have a quote that says women should be seen and heard. And matter of fact, that's one of the workshops coming up at the Red Dress Brunch retreat is women should be seen and heard, and we talk about professional presence. But we're living in a different time now. It's okay for women to be seen and for women to be heard. And what we do understand is when you share your win, that allows someone else to be inspired by your story and come behind you and do something just as great or greater. And we don't realize how, I mean, I guess in church we say testimony, right? But we don't know how our journey and our stories are a blessing or inspiration to other people. And so when we dial back, we don't give ourselves an opportunity to be that full light that our creator wants us to be. And so that's important for us to be able to show up in spaces and totally embrace what we're doing and what's happening in our lives that's worth celebrating and be okay with celebrating. I love the fact that you talked about the wins because sometimes, we know life happens, it goes in full circle, right? So when you go, if you have some wins, you're gonna have some losses too. So when
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
so when
And I
those
think people
wins come, magnify them. Go ahead,
and I think
Ashley.
people get caught up in if somebody's gonna if somebody gonna like the post. If nobody liked the post, you still shared it. And I think that's some of it too. Like, oh, if I post this, nobody ain't gonna like it, or what people gonna think. I think that's a lot of it, right? Or just the dream killers and just people that just worried about what other people think. I think that's a lot of why sometimes people don't share. And it's not bragging. And if this bragging, if somebody thinks it's bragging, then that's not your
It's
people
very,
because it's not bragging.
yeah. Yeah, that's,
What
I
do you
mean, and that's, I think it's also like understanding. I think sometimes, so I would say if you're having a problem with this, because I used to have a problem with this. And so if you're
Okay.
having a problem with this, one of the things that I would practice is celebrating something something that I thought that was a great accomplishment or something that I did every single day. If you start getting it, there people used to do like the gratitude journals. I say
Yes,
start a celebration journal. Do it for
yes,
7 days. What can I celebrate today, right? What
yes,
one thing can I celebrate today? And then you walk in that celebration all day. And I think if you get used to recognizing we're so critical of ourselves sometimes that we don't look at the positive, right? And so when you do a celebration journal, you begin to have to really see and be intentional about the things that you're celebrating. So I'm challenging y'all. Where's the camera? Okay, I'm challenging you. If this is your issue, I challenge you to a 7-day celebration journal. And if you do it, come back and let us know in the comments.
And I challenge you to just start celebrating other people. That helps too, right?
Oh,
Because
it does.
sometimes when people are hard on themselves and they don't want to celebrate themselves, it's hard for them to celebrate others. I challenge you to start celebrating other people, right? Serve,
Right.
celebrate other people, right? The more you give, the more you receive.
magnificent. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm all about celebration. I don't need much to celebrate. I am this celebration person. I'm like, okay, well, I had to dial back on the eating a little bit because that was, because we like to celebrate with food, okay? And so every time we get happy about something, that don't mean we get to go out and get a good, dinner. So, but I think celebration is very important. Someone said, I like the celebration challenge. That
Yeah,
is really, really, I like it too.
yeah.
That is really, really marvelous. I think that'll help us get out of our spaces to be able to embrace, when great things are happening for us and how we can show up. I think Donna says she accept the challenge. Woo, so yeah, I'm glad
All right,
y'all
Donna.
challenging
Listen,
women
Donna, we're
today.
gonna hold you accountable. We're holding you accountable.
Yes,
Yes.
holding them accountable. Well, there's so much to be desired when we talk about recognition and the power of what it does. And so I was reading another article when I was kind of trying to put this discussion together. And there was a statement that said that women recognize their own contributions. And so it's about basically what you just shared about celebrating, pulling out the things that your wins and celebrating those things. But recognition from others will only come when we as women recognize our own success and contributions. And I'm going to go ahead and say I kind of amen that statement. And that was one of the reasons why I created the Red Dress Brunch Awards, was because I wanted women to learn how to celebrate one another. Number one, it was a process. That means that you had to see someone doing good, and then you had to nominate them. And so in our culture, it was a hard stop to say, okay, not only do I say, oh, you did that, girl, but I took the time to make a recommendation for you for the award for the work that you've done. That says, I see you and I value your contribution. Tell me, ladies, what do you think about this statement about recognition will come as women? And when I say as, the come means like in corporate America, by both sex, by the world, or by men and women alike in different spaces, that recognition will come when we as women recognize our own success and contributions.
So I'll start just from a corporate perspective because as a leader, I'm thinking about this a lot with the team that I lead.
Yes.
I like to break down recognition really into three parts. And so two of those parts are really the responsibilities of leaders, right? And then the third part is what we bring our own stuff, right?
Yes.
And so I do agree that we need to get into this habit of recognizing ourselves. But when I look at recognition, I'm thinking, one, am I allowing people to feel valued and respected in their space? So you deserve to be in this space. And one of the things that I think is a really good example is when we do like new hires at companies. We have all these books that say what to do in the first 90 days, what to do in the first 30 days to make your job a success. And I want to challenge that a little bit for those of us who are leaders, that really what we should be thinking about is how do I make sure that that new person understands that we chose them for a reason. They went through a whole process. They went through interviews and applications, and so they're in that space because they earned that space. And so part of our first step in recognition is just giving people the acknowledgement that they belong where they are, right? And then the second part of that is us recognizing that we have to show appreciation. So it's that how I appreciate what you're doing. I acknowledge what you're doing. And that, again, I think falls on leadership. And so I would say that those two things, if you have a, listen to me, people, if you are in a position of influence, it is your responsibility, I strongly believe, to make people feel valued and to
Yes.
make people and to recognize and appreciate what they've accomplished. And then that third part of the recognition, which gets at this statement a bit, is our self-confidence, right? What we put out in our confidence. And I could tell, like, Dr. Ashley is walking in confidence every day, right? But she may have been born like that, or she may have trained herself to be that way. You know what I mean? But that the confidence of acknowledging that I have in me gifts, talents, and abilities that were placed innately in me that's different from everyone else, that allow me to do this thing well, and then start to walk in that thing. And so I think as leaders and people of influence, if we begin to open up those first two things, making people feel valued, making people recognizing that, yes, you're doing a great job, and showing that appreciation. And then we marry that with our own confidence in our talents, our skills, and our abilities. Then you begin to make it known your accomplishments, make it known the things that you're doing, because you walk a little bit different. You know what I mean? But I think it's a combination of things.
Yes. I agree with everything Belinda said. She said that so perfectly, right? Because it's all about, making sure people feel valued,
Yes.
celebrating them,
Dr.
giving,
Ashley
serving
recognizing
them.
me.
Yes, serving
That's
them, giving.
recognition.
Yes, that recognition, right? And then also, I agree, like knowing that you're supposed to be in that room, knowing that you're supposed to be at that table, and also understanding your contributions, right? That you are the expert in whatever it is, right? Whether it's media marketing, speaking, just going in that room confident, because people, they can see that, they can sense that, right? And if you're not confident in your ability and in your skills and what you're doing, then how do you expect somebody else to be? Just like I see this meme all the time on social media where they say, if you're not promoting your business, how is somebody else, you want somebody else to believe in it? Right?
Right.
So it starts with you. You have to be confident in you and be happy about you and love you first, and understand that I'm supposed to be in this room. I am an expert in this. I'm confident in what I'm doing. I have it down pat. I know what I'm doing, right? For people to really believe in you, you got to believe in yourself first. So that's what I would add to that.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that to get there, we need to have these kinds of conversations, because I don't want people to put this in the comment, but I'm curious how many people watching this would say, I don't know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to champion for myself. Maybe I've not been taught how to do that. I think that more and more of these conversations are allowing people to see, like, this is how you do that. And so how you go about, starting this celebration challenge might be one way, but then learning how to have conversations where you're speaking up in meetings, and where you're showing up and being able to express your value in spaces.
Well, I believe that everybody should always remain a student. So invest in a coach. Oprah got coaches, right? So invest in what you need help in. And I think a lot of people don't want to do that, right? They don't want to invest in themselves. That's part of growing, right? Nobody's perfect. So we always remain a student. I got multiple coaches. So invest in a coach if that's an area that you need improvement in.
Mm-hmm.
I have multiple coaches too, Dr. Ashley, by the way. And that's quite all right. I think
Yeah.
the other day I was working with someone in my team, and she said, "Well, how many coaches do you have?" And I had to sit there and count. So you're so important. That is so important, to make sure that you have someone that you're surrounded by, that can help pull those different things out of you. One of the things that Lean In found, and so I want to kind of drill down to our particular group with Black women, is that Black women are less likely to have their work accomplishments promoted by managers and are less likely to receive opportunities to showcase their work. Talk to me a little bit about being a black woman or being in groups with other black women and them not feeling like, because we talked about value, everybody wants to feel valued for their work and for their achievements, and they want to be recognized for them. I want to say that, because I talk about love languages a lot, that recognition is black women's love language. If
Yeah.
you want to support them, then you recognize them for the work that they've done and their contributions. So, talk a little bit about that for me. Either one of you,
Uh,
just
well, I'm gonna speak from I've experienced this. I've went through seasons of discrimination as a black woman in executive level positions. I wrote about it in my first books. I went through multiple seasons, and so I'm gonna say just off of experience of this, being not recognized for your work, and people not wanting you there, and am I gonna say it was easy? Absolutely not. Like, when a lot of those seasons that I went through was very challenging, right? And sometimes, you nobody's perfect, so you will have that in your back of your head. Do I supposed to be here, or should I leave, or all of that, right? And so one thing that helped me when I was going through those seasons, and that's why I say you have to invest in coaches and mentors, that I was able to have somebody that I can confide in to talk to me, that have been through some sort of like that, or really could help me navigate, right, to get through those seasons. And those are some times that having those coaches and mentors is what really helped me, because I did have moments where I wanted to quit. I did have moments where I didn't feel like I should be there. It was a lot, right? But the positive thing, because I had to take it, okay, what is God teaching me from this, right? What lesson am I learning from this? It pushed me out into me wanting, pushing me out into starting my own companies, to creating my own legacies, right? So it was a positive out of those seasons that I went through. But yes, when you work hard and you're supposed to be in those rooms, and people don't want you there, and you go through, and people don't want to recognize you for your work, and they recognize everybody else who's not doing the work, right? Or is not doing half of what you're doing, it can be very heartbreaking. It can be very hurtful. And so what I say to anybody that might be going through that, understand that you are supposed to be there, that you are supposed to be in that room, that you are on assignment to be there, and understand that results, nobody can take the results, right? They may not give you the recognition. You might not ever get it. But understand that numbers don't lie, and that your work and your results will speak for itself at the end of the day. You might not recognize me, but you will respect me.
And
all right.
I agree, Dr. Ashley. And I've been in the position where, you in the same kind of position where you haven't, you feel like you're working and you're not being recognized or being promoted, or,
Yes.
Yeah.
what have you. And there are two things. So for every promotion I've had in my career, there's always been two people, my mentors. So I have mentors and coaches, and then there's always a sponsor. And I
Yes.
think that as women, we don't seek out sponsorship, probably because we don't know how to seek out sponsorship, right? But a sponsor, just for those who may not know, a sponsor is someone who is speaking your name in rooms that you're not in. They're at the table. They're saying they're putting putting your name out there, and they might not necessarily be the one that's going to help you with skills. That's not there. That's the mentor's job. But it's really to get your name in those spaces. And I've been blessed to have really good sponsors, and I had to work to get to make those relationships. And so I say that, sponsorship and mentorship and coaching, those are all very important. The other thing that I see all the time, kind of as managing people, is that we forget as leaders that everybody, I think, Pastor Alicia, you said like something about love languages. I
Yes.
think that people don't understand that there are recognition languages as well. And
Mhm.
so
There are.
as a leader, we think, oh, we're recognizing this person because we're giving them a pay increase every year,
Yes.
right? That's
Compensation.
recognition,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Compensation. But
Yes.
that may not be my recognition language. Maybe my recognition language is a certificate. Maybe my recognition language is me being able to present my work in front of leaders. Understanding the recognition language. And I think even as leaders, it's important for us to make sure that we're providing those opportunities. But as women, we have to understand what our own recognition language is so that we can navigate that. If I know money's okay, but what I really want to do is to be able to present in front of these people and let them see me shine, then I need to be able to articulate that and to be able to communicate that. And that's where a good coach will come in. And so I think that, there's that we have to begin to those who are in the areas of influence have to begin to sponsor
Yeah.
women. It goes back to that, well, you saw my post, but did you like my post? I want to take that even further. Did you tell somebody about my post? Right? Like,
Did you
it's
share
we
it?
have to be sponsors. We have to be sponsors of one another. And it's influence is all about kind of not necessarily what you do, but how you impact those. And we all have influence. We all have influence. How are we using our influence to help other women? That's something I'd like to add to the conversation. But yeah.
And so that's why I said like and share. That's how you can support. You want to know how to support Women in Blazers? You like our posts and you share and you share our posts. Go ahead, Ashley. I think you were about to say something.
No, I wasn't. I was just saying yes. I'll agree. Like and share the post. Like and share.
Mhm. But another way too, and I'm glad you mentioned about the people that you lead and making sure that you intertwine recognition in there because it goes a long way. It really does when you're building a culture of embracing others. That's one of the things I like about the red dress brunch. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create a recognition platform the way that I did is because I wanted to bring women together, especially women of color, who may have done some wonderful things and had not received any recognition for the work. I believe women of color have gone unrecognized for some time now for the work that they've put in and contributions, whether it's to society or to the community, social action, just so many different contributions. And we just wanted our name to be called to say we see you and we appreciate you, and that alone has gone a long way for women. I think even now with so much the way that we're moving with the movement of seeing black women move up in different leadership positions and seeing the promotion happen to even being nominated for the Supreme Court judge
Yeah.
space. All of those things are forms of recognition for us, talk a little bit about that. Ashley, you received an award from the Red Dress Brunch and have experienced being in the room with those powerhouse women and everyone cheering for each other. What did that feel like for you?
It felt amazing, actually. And I honestly, when I received the email, I didn't know who nominated me, right? So that's why I tell people, like, do the work. Don't worry about what everybody's thinking or saying. You never know who's watching you. So I don't, to this day, right? I didn't know who nominated me or whatever, but I just knew that, hey, as long as I do the work, you do the work, it'll all come full circle. And so just being in the room with so many amazing women from all over the world was great. And I mean, the collaboration, the people I met, the networking opportunities that I left there with was amazing. And everybody was genuinely happy for each other, right? And celebrating each other. And it was just a great time. And I just want to commend you, Alicia, for just founding this amazing movement and starting this, because we are better together and we're so powerful together. And if we really can get a hold of how powerful we are together, we really can just take over this world. But we have to get that mindset and mentality, right? And also, like you said, getting in those rooms. And I spoke about that on another platform the other day. For this year, I'm challenging anybody that's listening. Put yourself in the room. However you get there, some of them you can go into, you might not have to invest, but some of them you might have to, right? So if you have to, put yourself in those rooms, in those spaces with people who are further ahead of you, who are where you want to be, and put yourself in those rooms with women who want to collaborate, want to network, want to work together. Put yourself in those spaces. If you don't do that, I mean, how do you expect to grow? And even if it's challenging for you, you might be an introvert or however, because introverts, they know how to network too. It's all about your mindset, right? put yourself in there and make yourself uncomfortable. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? Because that's how you're going to grow. So I challenge anybody to do that. Just putting yourself in those rooms this year. Get in those rooms so you can get that mentality and that mindset, right? Because it's all about your environment. That's what I live by that. It's all about your environment. So if you don't think women can collaborate and support each other, get in the rooms where they are doing it. So that mindset, so you can challenge that mindset, the understanding that, hey, we can do this, right? But if you don't do that and you don't put yourself in those environments, then you're going to have that mentality that's not true, and you're going to be stuck. So get in the room.
I think you just said something so powerful about being in circles with women that do know how to celebrate one another. I challenge you to do that. If you're not in a circle where you all are celebrating wins and promoting one another and challenging each other to grow and maybe sometimes even surpass one another in spaces, then I challenge you to find another circle to be a part of so then someone can help propel you to the next level. What do you think about that, Belinda?
I totally agree. I always talk about people's advisory teams,
Yes.
so the advisory team are those folks that you're taking your advice from. So if those people in your advisory group aren't celebrating you while they're giving you honest feedback, you need a whole nother circle. You really do. And there is a power to being in a space where women are celebrated. And so coming to the red dress luncheon and being able to see people, because what begins to happen is it helps you to change your own narrative. And so as people are telling their stories, I know that when people receive their awards, you get to see kind of why they received their award. You get to hear their story and you get to connect with people to say, wait, that person lived in my neighborhood, or that person had the same set of circumstances I did, or that, whatever it is, it begins to help you be able to see where you can go as you celebrate another woman. And so it's really important to be in those spaces. And I think I kind of can hear people saying, well, I don't even know how to start. I wouldn't even know how to get in those rooms. Dr. Ashley said, get in the room. How can I get in the room? It starts with things like this, going to the retreat and going to the brunch and saying, okay, I'm going to start here this year. And then when you get there, I challenge you to meet at least 5 other women, and then take that with you throughout the year, and then you can grow there. I think we feel like we have to have all the answers right up front, and you don't. Just take one step to get in the space, and clearly the red dress brunch is one of those spaces you can be in, right?
It definitely is, because one of the things about it, even people that are introverts, I challenge the women because we've said this. That's the power word tonight, y'all. Is challenge. So in this space, you are going to be challenged one way or the other. But I challenge women to get up out of their seats and to net connect. That means that you can't talk to the people you came with, or the people that you just sat at the table with. I want you to get up from your seat, go across the room, meet 2 or 3 people that you have not met before, and introduce yourself to them and ask them, find out how you can help them and how you can support them. And believe it or not, the conversation is just wonderful. I have received so many testimonials about women leaving the space and making new connections. And that's exactly what the Red Dress Brunch was designed to do, was to empower women to come together and network, learn how to collaborate and work together in the space, support one another, cheer for one another. And so I think that's just a beautiful thing. That's real women's empowerment, when you can bring diverse group of women together and get those type of results. Ashley, I think you were ready to say something.
And just to add on to what you all have already said, when you're going up and introducing yourself to people, it should always be a servant mindset, though. I'm so big on that, right? A servant mindset. How can I serve you? How can I bring value to you? It shouldn't be what can I get from Alicia or what can I get from Belinda, right? Because that's using people, right? So you got to have, it's a certain way, like it's an effective way. If you want to have a long term building relationships, right? And not a short term, you want to go with that servant mindset, right? How can I add value to you? Or, asking people about them. It's not about you. Ask them about them, what they got going on, and seeing how you can help either help them further along or provide a resource. So it's all about making sure it's not about you, because it's not, right? You're serving, right? And we're bringing value. We're figuring out how we can serve that person and how we can bring value to what they're already doing. So keep that in mind too when you're building these relationships, because you want them to be long term. You do not want them to be short term.
Well, I found in the business that I'm in, because I'm in the people business, because I signed up. This is my assignment. I'm gonna be used by people. It's just it comes with,
What?
it comes with, and that's okay, because that's what my assignment is. It's for, so and I tell people, if it's something that I can help you do, or if it's somewhere I can help you go, then sit down and let's talk about it. Let's see how we can do it, because that's what I want to do. That's what I want to avail myself to people for, is to help people move to the next level, get on their journey, find their purpose, discover their purpose, excel at what they do. That's just what my calling is. And that's what I love to do with empowering women. Before we go, we know it's Women History Month, right? And I'm sure that there have been some women in our lives that have done phenomenal things, that have inspired us, and you want to celebrate them this month. Is there anyone that you think of that you've been watching like all your life, and this person has inspired you to become who you are today, or to strive to become better?
Yeah, I'll start. So for me, my grandmother, Annie Lee Barnes, who's resting in heaven right now, had an eighth grade education, and she went into public health. My mom was a teen mom, and my grandmother decided that, I don't, this is not the way that this should happen. And so she dedicated her whole entire life to teen pregnancy prevention. So much so advocating for patients that the National Family Planning and Reproductive Health Association actually has an award named after her. And so I watched her with an eighth grade education do all of these things, be on governor's councils here, and she worked with the governor here in the state of Georgia. And what she also did was she brought me along. So when she would have business trips and she was going to conferences, I would tag along. And so by the time I graduated, I had access to people that I wouldn't have had access to had she not done that. She showed me what sponsorship was. She showed me what mentorship was, even though she had an eighth grade education. And so I salute her. I actually live my life to exemplify the things that she planted in me. And I'm hoping that I'm passing that legacy on to my children and maybe their children's children, but that's who I would celebrate for Women's History Month.
That is beautiful. It really is. I just love it. I totally do. Grandma didn't even know she was teaching you about mentor sponsorship, but she was making spaces, so making room for you so you can navigate in certain spaces. I love it. I absolutely do. Ashley, who would you celebrate today?
I've had so many amazing women. Been blessed to have some amazing women in my life, but definitely my mother, Catherine Little, who's still living, thank God. But definitely, with you, this person you see, this outgoing person, this person that doesn't care what people think. My mother instilled that in me at a young age to be bold, get out there, be who you are. Don't change for anyone. So I definitely would say my mother, and of course, one of my mentors from an early age, a very early age, Deborah Davis, who is still one of my mentors now, hey, she had me in the Christmas plays. She had me in all of the speeches and any program. She would put me out there and make me very uncomfortable. But she's a big part of my journey today, too. And she's done some amazing things throughout North Carolina, sat in some major seats, principal, superintendent positions. Now she's retired and she's still doing amazing things. And she taught me the meaning of giving back and serving others and, valuing others and working together and collaborating with others. So those are the two women that I would definitely highlight tonight.
Well, tonight I want to highlight Shirley Chisholm. She has one of my favorite quotes, which is, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." So, and And that's my philosophy I live by, and I'm so glad that and for those of you that don't know, she was the first African American woman to run for president, and so she definitely embodied bring a folding chair, right? Literally. And so I think we as women now are pushing through glass ceilings because of people like Shirley Chisholm. And so all month we have the opportunity to recognize women that have done phenomenal things, women's shoulders that we're standing on currently, that who've made paths for us so that we could walk the journey and embrace who we totally are in this bodysuit of womanhood and be powerful. And so my comment or my thing that I would like to leave with everyone tonight is to walk in your power. It doesn't matter if you have not received recognition yet. Keep doing the work. Keep showing up in spaces. Keep being powerful like you are and walk in your power. Don't try to run in someone else's lane. Don't try to compete with someone else. Collaboration is the new competition. Learn how to work with women because guess what? When we work together, we go further. And so thank you so much for joining Women in Blazers tonight. Before we leave, would you all please share with them how they could follow you or connect with you on your social platforms?
So you can follow me on Instagram at I am Belinda Gaston, and you can also go on my website. I do a blog each week, so you can go to my website belindagaston.com. And then, of course, on LinkedIn and Facebook, I am just Belinda Gaston. So you should be able to find me in all of those places.
Awesome. Well, you all can follow me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little, on Instagram at _Ashley A Little, and on my website at www.ashleylittlenterprises.com. And I look forward to collaborating and working with you all.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us with Women in Blazers. We'll be right back here next Wednesday. If you have not heard about the Red Dress Brunch, this year we have added a leadership retreat component where we have a 2-day hybrid event and 1 day in person. And so we will be at the Hotel Avalon in Alpharetta, Georgia, one of my favorite hiding spots. Why? Because they have magnificent restaurants, they have shopping that you walk right out of in front of the hotel, and they have a Starbucks in the lobby. And I don't know what a hotel is without a Starbucks. And we cannot forget the Wood Day Spa. And every woman should have a spa treatment. And so if you go ahead and connect with us with this Women of Power Red Dress Brunch retreat, I promise that you will not be disappointed. And we would love for you to be our special guest. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll be right back here next Wednesday. Good night.
Good night, everyone.